becoming an artist. So I think for a lot of us, that means we're trying to communicate our ideas effectively and connect with other people. And for me personally, sometimes I feel like I'm not doing that. I feel like I'm kind of working on my own, working in a bit of a vacuum, a bit of a void. And it's hard to know whether anyone is kind of resonating with anything that I put out into the world. I've had some social media accounts in the past, which I used to sort of populate semi-regularly, sort of giving them a bit of a backseat while I sort of reassess what I do. And the whole time it's sort of like, is this even working? Is this, am I getting anywhere? And I have noticed over the years, I have actually had some feedback. And sometimes when I'm feeling a bit down, I feel like, no one knows about what I'm trying to do, what I'm trying to bring into the world. I sort of remember that actually there are a few people that have sort of reached out to discuss my art in some capacity. Sometimes it's really good, sometimes positive, sometimes interesting. And I wanted to share a few of those kind of little messages that have been sent my way over recent years. So first off is a message about a mystery t-shirt design. Someone contacted me to say, hey, I've got a weird question for you. We went to this estate sale today and there was a box filled with maybe 20 shirts with the same custom design printed on them. The owner didn't know the story behind them because they were already in the house when she bought it. We bought 2 because we thought they were funny, but then couldn't stop thinking about the story behind it. We tried reverse image searching and found your Graphic River account, which led to finding your Insta. I'm happy to send a pic, but it won't let me send a picture until you accept the invite. And then I just replied saying, that's interesting, sure, send me a picture. And they were like, we were stumped because we couldn't find anything about who the character was, why there were so many shirts made. I'm excited you responded and to know that we might have some insight about the story behind these. Also, I went to your website a while back, and if I remember, it seems like you might be in England. We found these in Florida. Okay, so they sent the pictures, they're the ones in the middle, and then I basically replied to say, so this was originally created for a startup poker brand called Play It Like You Mean It. Customer commissioned 4 designs in 2005 to 2006, with plans to create more, although shortly after the 4th design was complete, he went silent and I never heard back. I always wondered what happened to the project. About 10 years later, I posted this one as a downloadable asset on Graphic River, as you know. In the 8 years since, I haven't even sold the asset design once. It's only $5. Yeah, that's something I'll probably talk about in another video, sort of selling art assets. Anyway, so I didn't expect to see it around anytime soon. Thanks for sharing. Let me know if you have any other questions about it. If not, I'm glad it at least gave you a laugh. Yeah, they were very happy with the fact that I had replied. They were like, wow, that's so awesome. I never have imagined it was from that long ago. There were no details or anything. We had no idea. Thank you so much. So yeah, this was just a project that I did obviously years ago for just a small sort of mini startup business back in the day. And it's always interesting for me, these kind of messages, because I never know what happens to any of the work I do. Yeah, I get a customer in America. Obviously, I'm in the UK, and they want something for some reason, and they use it, but I never really know how they use it. I always appreciate if someone says, "Oh, here's a copy of the T-shirt that was made from your design," or here's a book that was, made out of the, I don't know, the 50,000 words of written content you supplied. But funnily enough, my publishers don't always do that. Often they do, but sometimes not. So it's always interesting for me just to actually find out what happens to this kind of stuff, because talking about this idea of connection and stuff, this is what you want. You want to feel like someone is, well, you want to know that someone knew about that thing that you once created. It's just kind of an interesting thing. This next one, this was another kind of weird thing. This was, hey, are you the original creator and owner of the Medusa artwork? I see you're in the UK, but I found a sign with a local phone number and your Medusa artwork on an emergency radio tower in the mountains of Colorado, and I cannot figure out how your art relates to the emergency services. I know, silly, but it's stuck in my head. It's weird. And then I basically replied to say, yeah, I think I'm the person. Then they said, using a reverse image lookup, it was easy to find you. You're extremely talented. Attached is a photo I took. I deleted the phone number because it goes to a US government office and I'm not in the mood to piss off my government. Your art attached to a government sign made me think of some stealth military unit or something. But it looks like one of your fans just wanted to make hikers like me think too hard. I was hiking in the general area of Colorado, USA. And then they put a link to the Echo Lake Park Google's map. Yeah, this was a design that I did, and on the right, I'm just showing the fact that it can be bought as a sticker from my TeePublic store. It's just, yeah, it's just kind of weird because I don't sell a lot of these. It's not like I've sold 50,000 of these stickers over the course. I've probably sold 10. So it's just weird the places these things turn up. And isn't it interesting that someone saw it and thought that they would just randomly out of the blue email me about that thing? Because I never ask people to do it, or I never ask this person to do it. But I don't know, for some reason, these two messages are making, there's like this weird mystery of this artwork. How did it get there? What's it about? And then people track me down, and obviously to me it's like it's just artwork. It's stuff, well, not just, but it's pieces I've worked on in the past. I know about it, but for other people out there, obviously it is actually connecting with them, and I wouldn't have ever thought it before that. This was sort of going from interesting to the times when I'm feeling down and I kind of want to pick myself up and give myself a boost. I've started saving a few of these types of messages because I know what I'm like, and I'm quite a perfectionist. I can be quite hard on myself, and sometimes I need to remind myself that it's not all for nothing. You're not just doing stuff that exists in the void. There are people that actually appreciate the stuff you do. So this guy says, hi, I'm Doppelganger from Brazil. So my doppelganger actually contacted me. That's interesting. I'm currently an artist, and I'd like to thank you from the bottom of my heart. I read one of your books teaching how to draw manga. They helped me a lot to learn about drawings, especially when I started drawing there in 2022. Thank you very much, Ben Crafter. In addition, your drawings are very beautiful. Good afternoon. And then, yep, I appreciate that. Thank them for the comment. I know people have social media accounts, and people, they might do a thumbs up emoji, comment on a post that you do. But when someone actually goes out of their way, not necessarily to comment on, a post, but wants to basically write you fan mail and say that you did a thing and I appreciated it and it actually helped me. I do really appreciate those comments. And it's funny how previously, up until recently, I was so dismissive of stuff like that. I thought, yeah, well, there's a million people putting out a million things on the internet every day. Why should I feel any sense of accomplishment or pride in the fact that I did a thing? But sometimes you need that. Sometimes you need that little sort of pat on the back to remind you that, yeah, you're doing good things, Yeah, on the right, there's the version of one of my books that was translated into Portuguese. And I think the Portuguese version of this book has sold way more than the English version ever did, just judging by the amount of reviews on Amazon. When I look at the reviews on Amazon.com for this book, there's probably about 3. Whereas when I look on Amazon. Is it BR for Brazil? I think there's like 70 comments or something, like reviews, which is, a substantial amount. The disappointing thing for me is it doesn't really translate into sales. I did the book for a publisher, and I do get a small royalty, but it is so tiny. I'm getting a few pence on each book. So even if they sell, 10,000 books, I mean, I had an advance on royalties, so it probably wouldn't even be enough to pay off the advance, unfortunately. Yeah, it's good to know that people are actually reading the books that you put out, because things like this, they took months of my life, and I kind of pulled all my knowledge, everything I'd learned up until that point, for the whole purpose of trying to help people. And sometimes you just think, and it's probably true for most people buy how to draw books because they think just owning the book is going to allow them to be an amazing artist. But obviously you need to read it, and that takes time and a bit of effort, I suppose, especially to apply anything that you've learned. But it's always good to know when people do. This was interesting because I didn't even know, but eBay apparently now allow you to attach photos as feedback when you write feedback reviews. And I know you can do this on sites like Etsy, but I didn't know this was a thing on eBay. So again, someone bought some art prints that I was selling on eBay, and they commented, absolutely stunning, couldn't be happier with them, amazing art, great comms too, very accommodating. I never post photos in feedback, but these just deserve it, thanks so much. And yeah, it was the first time anyone had posted a photo of anything I had posted. I mean, that's just a cool comment, because not only is it just cool to see what people do with the artwork afterwards, like where they put it on their walls or the frames that they put it in, but it's an endorsement to anyone else that potentially wanted to get hold of some of my artwork on eBay. So this was a really cool comment, and I wish the publisher of the book that I worked on read this. So this person said, "Your work is phenomenal. Picked up unicorns and mystical creatures, and my wife and I love it. We have a lot of money wrapped up in our adult colouring books and suppliers, and your edition will be treasured. But if I can ask, have you considered only using one side to make every picture glow? I know enthusiasts like myself would appreciate your Priceline work. Priceline? Priceless, maybe? A little more, if that's possible. Thank you for this wonderful book. We are honoured you are sharing it with us." But yeah, the trouble is, I think decisions like that are all down to the publisher. I can't. Normally, I work with a publisher, and especially for like this was the unicorns colouring book that I did. So I was asked to do unicorns. I'm not a massive unicorn fan. I just happened to get commissioned to draw lots of unicorns, more than I ever want to have to ever draw again in my life. If it was a personal project, I would think about stuff like that, because I know what it's like, especially if you're using, thick, dense alcohol markers that are just going to really suck up the ink. It's going to bleed through the page, and you don't ever want a colouring book where you have two images on one side, unless the paper is seriously thick. But even then, like, it will still bleed, because I use quite thick card or Bristol board to colour my own marker artworks, and it bleeds through. So yeah, if I was in charge, I would do one image per page, and that would be that rather than each side. But I think it's just more of a selling point. It's just one of those things where a customer's going to flick through the book and it just looks better at that sort of initial point when you can flick through a whole book and just see a book filled with stuff, and you can say maybe on the cover or whatever, 200 images, and you can pack that into a smaller size that isn't going to cost the publisher extra paper or something. But yeah, I mentioned to the customer that these things normally come down to money and keeping the book at a price point that more customers are happy to pay. But I love the idea of a premium edition, so we'll see. We will see. But it's down to the publishers. I mean, if only people contacted the publishers or the editors to say we want this rather than the authors, unless it's a self-published book, and then they replied, "Oh, that'd be wonderful, a special edition of your favourite. Put me on that waiting list. Thank you for your consideration from my soul. Thank you for sharing your talent with us. You have no idea how much colour therapy with a phenomenal book like yours helps my PTSD. Please have a blessed evening." That's a really cool comment, because again, anyone could do a thumbs up emoji or a smiley face or say the word cool on an Instagram post. But when someone's taken their time to, I don't know, look you up and then tell you the effect that your art has on them, whether it's the book and it's kind of helped them progress, or whether it's, a colouring page that, has helped someone deal with a mental ailment, it's a pretty cool thing. This was another one I thought this was like the perfect endorsement for anyone that is interested in checking out what I write rather than what I say. So this is, "Hello, I happened upon your page whilst Googling how to attend comic cons as an artist to showcase work and sell prints. I've never done one before and I had no clue how to go about it or what to expect. I'm not even sure I have the guts to do it." So this is exactly how I used to feel. "I found your blog about your experiences and insights extremely helpful, so thank you for posting that. I also had a browse for your website and just wanted to say it's really well made and your artwork is awesome. I also like your interest in blogs." That was it really. Just wanted to send a happy note saying I like your stuff. Thanks for sharing it. And it's the same. It's a level of skill and engaging content art to aspire to. Now that was just a really, again, like, it's a really cool comment, because day after day I just feel like, what am I doing? I'm just pushing pixels around the screen, or draw graphite on a sheet of paper, and no one cares. And I can feel like that for months until I do get a comment like this, and and it's worth acknowledging, I think. And I think the compliments that feel good are the ones where, like, so she's talking about a blog post that I spent a long time producing. I spent days writing this thing. I could have expanded it a little bit more, maybe just turned it into a book. But I wrote it all. I put it up online for people to use for free, because I thought that, it was something. I think the comic conventions and attending those, selling my artwork at comic cons, for me back in the day was so much of a big deal that I thought I would never be able to do it. Well, yeah, I was like that. I thought I'm never going to have the guts to do any of this kind of stuff. And eventually I did it, and I wanted to make sure that if anyone else was in the same situation, they'd have a bit of an easy ride about it. Okay, now we're on to the odd posts. So it's just funny sometimes, the sort of weird stuff that gets sent your way. It's just like odd, weird, interesting. So I thought I'd just share this. So this is someone on eBay that again contacted me sort of out the blue randomly to say, I produce slightly erotic art of well-known characters, which I have then copied commercially. Oddly, these have been sought after by the elderly and people in decline with mental reserves, especially in care. Somehow the images prompt their memory banks. Today I have given them for free, hence the inquiry as to the best solution for producing in batches. I'm totally at odds with which machine, except it has to be A, free and conservative in cost to run. Your machines are used, so some have reservations, but I'm tempted but concerned as to their ongoing reliability. Okay, so I'm trying to sell I was trying to sell a printer on eBay. Normally on eBay, if you want to buy a printer or you want to buy a phone or sofa or something, you say, hi, I'm interested in your sofa. When can I come pick it up? Or can you just confirm the sort of condition it's in? Or can you confirm that it all runs correctly before I sort of buy? You don't normally get that kind of backstory. I just thought it was an odd thing, an odd backstory to give. And the weird thing was, I'm selling this printer on eBay. There wasn't a question. It wasn't like at the end. Anyway, yeah, here's my little story about, drawing porn for old people. Now, can I ask, does your printer produce, high quality prints that, will be good for these types of people or something? There was no question there. It was just a weird message. So yeah, they're worth saving just because they're quite amusing. And this was another odd one. So again, random email. I don't get that many emails, maybe like one every 3 or 4 months, sort of out the blue like this. Yeah, once in 4, 5 months maybe. And this one was like, hi, I really like your art. Can you draw a very realistic, non-fantasy looking, bald-headed, muscular, heavyweight female character that have a very quite ugly and realistic facial appearance and post it on your Instagram page? I will really appreciate it if you did. Sincerely, and then no name. You can ask. I think I replied back saying, doesn't really sound like my sort of thing, but thanks for the suggestion. It is a weird request, and it was weird that they wanted me to post it on their Instagram, on my Instagram page, but they didn't message me via Instagram. They went straight to my website, but then they wanted it posted on Instagram, and I just thought, why? Like, why me? I'm not your go-to, ugly, bald-headed, muscular woman, artist that tends to do stuff like that. And it's like, it sounds more like an AI image prompt. And I think maybe I should have said, I think you'd be better off with a subscription to Midjourney or DALL-E or something, because I think you're going to get what you want there, and you're not going to get many people that, especially for free, would take the time to do that. Like most of the time, people say, look, I've got a budget of £300 or £400. We draw my a cover for my fanfic or my little book that I'm working on. I say little book as in, they're an unpublished author and they want to self-publish, and it's not a big book deal. It's just a little personal, or it's a personal project. It might be a big personal project to them. But to me, £300 or £400 for possibly 2 weeks of work isn't worth the time. So I normally have to say no, let alone people that want these kinds of pieces for free. And this is the last one. This is probably my favourite comment of all time. So this was someone on Twitter that messaged me out the blue again just to say, dope stuff. I shoplifted your book from a store once. Sorry, I was a young fool, but great book, helped a lot. It's brilliant. I think some people would be mad. I think some people would be like, you did what? I know I've had some other good positive comments and endorsements before, but this guy, he was willing to potentially go to jail just to read my book. He was willing to face time just so that he could get his hands on The Art of Drawing Manga, or The Artist's Guide to Drawing Manga by Ben Crafter. So there you go. People will do anything for it. People will fight tooth and claw just to get hold of my book, because it's that good. Anyway, I think I'll leave it there. But yeah, the message of this video is just that if you're feeling down and you're struggling with trying to figure out if you're connecting with other people, or if the whole venture is worth continuing with, try and look for those times when people have commented, and that it might give you that little boost not to give up and to keep persevering.